Oh man, like Steve Martin is Steve Martin, so like being a part of this project was just like unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like to see someone who I've probably seen more than like my real family because I've watched for so long in my lifetime on TV and in film. It was just incredible and meant a lot. And to meet him and to not be disappointed and to just like I don't know, just get close and intimate into his life and uncover things. It was fantastic. I don't know that there was anything that I was surprised to learn about Steve during production, except that he was just like everyone was like he's normal, and he was normal. I mean, he's like this fantastic talent and this fantastic creative, but he was just like a good guy.
Yes, it was a bit of a surprise to me. I was kind of called to do a Steve Martin play within a documentary, and I was like, yes, please. I've actually been an admirer of Steve's writing for a long time, so to just do a part of the play was a great honor. His writing is, I think what's so amazing about his work is that everything he does is so completely different. I mean, he plays the banjo, he does, all the movies we've seen, and also does amazing stand-up, but also he's a playwright, and his plays are very unique and kind of bizarre and use language in a very unique way. And so I just sort of like tapped into the language of the play and tried to dig into it as best as I could. He's just sort of universally humanly funny, and I think that's what we're going to see tonight is like the beginning, the stand-up part, which is just like for everyone.
Oh my God, huge. Like I grew up watching Father of the Bride, so this is like an amazing project to be a part of. Steve's life story, how hard he worked when he was younger. Morgan, I've worked with for years. He's such a talented filmmaker. Thrilled to be part of his project again. He has such a vision for how to tell someone's life story, and he's such a fan too. All great. Oh, hearing all of Steve's close friends and family talk about him is just an insight that you don't get otherwise. Everyone has lived with Steve in their lives for many decades, but you don't really get to hear the nitty-gritty. And as we sort of show in the film, not everyone also gets a piece of Steve, so we're really lucky to be a part of that process. He's very meticulous in his craft, and just understanding how he refined his magic act into a stand-up comic act is like beyond thrilling, and how hard he worked to match those jokes and understand like indicators that comedians give is very thrilling.
I've always wanted to make a film about comedy. I never had. And when the idea came that I could do a Steve Martin documentary, it was the pinnacle of comedy documentaries for me. I've loved Steve since I was a little kid, and started memorizing his albums. But he's had such an interesting career that I just felt like I could do whatever I wanted with his story. It would take me to places I wanted to go. I mean, Steve's story is really about working really hard at something to achieve some greatness. I don't think he would ever say greatness because he's too modest, but he says in the beginning of the first documentary, I guarantee you, when I started, I had no talent. Now, I don't agree with that, but I think the attitude that it took hard work for more than a decade before he had any real evidence that he was going to make it, to me is really inspirational. When I started these films, I just went to Steve's house with a tape recorder, and we talked and talked and talked, probably for 16 hours. And that helped me decide a lot about what the story was going to be and what we were going to do. And then we started filming. So it took me in all kinds of directions I didn't expect. Steve is so smart and funny. He's kind of the perfect interview subject, but I don't even think of it as interview because I felt like we just had conversations.
Well, the work I had seen him do before, I was impressed by, and you, as a performer, you get a little envious of someone who has a master documentary about them, like "Won't You Be My Neighbor?" Well, it's just circumstances at being a certain age and I don't know what to do. I mean, I actually did one in the 90s, or the late 80s when I had LA Story come out, but I was half the age I am now, so there's always room for another one. Well, the idea that anybody's interested is a nice thing, but I remember going to an event honoring Clint Eastwood one time, and I was, in the photo line, and I just looked and said, wow, this guy has done so much. And I sort of feel like this is maybe the appropriate time to do something. I've done a lot, whether it's good or bad, I don't know, but I've done a lot. I love being the center of attention.